your supplements and functional foods, legal developments, ingredient news, education, inspiration, entertainment, Insider in the afternoon.
Hey, everybody. All right. Welcome to another show of Insider in the Afternoon, because it's Wednesday. And if it's Wednesday afternoon, it's time for Insider in the Afternoon. Todd Runstead here. I'm your host for today. Thanks for joining us. This is going to be fun. This show is going to be the most fun show that we've done. I think we're like up to 6 right now. And part of the reason it's going to be fun is we're going to be doing shots, but not right now. And we're going to be talking COVID. Oh, yes, we are. And we're going to be talking nutrition. And not only that, but we're going to be talking to, every Robin has his Batman. And so I want to introduce you to the Batman of the nutrition industry. That's right. Ola Lessard, you have now been dubbed Batman. You could, what is there? Batwoman? Catwoman.
Catwoman.
I'm getting my
I thought you were
superhero.
going to be Batman and I was going to be Robin. So now I'm super, but I'll take it. I mean, sure. I don't even, could Robin even fly? I don't know.
Yeah, right. Could Batman, he probably could, right? He's bats fly. I'm not really sure. So Ola, I wanted to select my Batman, but I had a list, and it had to be someone who was smart. It had to be someone who was experienced. It had to be someone who was a little bit of a firecracker, and it had to be someone who I love. And so I called Ola, and I was like, how am I going to say, Ola, you should be on the show? And after like 15 seconds on the call, I was like, okay, this is going to work out great. So, Ola, I've known you for a radically short amount of time in the history of the world, 4.6 billion years. So I knew you back in your days of Barlean, the oil company. And then you, like so many other people in the supplements industry, heard the siren songs of hemp, and you jumped ship. So I don't know. That's what I think about you. What do you have to say for yourself?
Oh my goodness. Well, let's see. Yeah. I mean, we haven't known each other very long, maybe 4 years, maybe.
Right.
I don't know. I will say Barlean's actually did introduce CBD while I was there, as you may recall.
And you were like the first one to go organic too, or second.
Yeah, I think that we probably were either the first or second to go organic. And I do remember that, we were really kind of the first big company then to enter the CBD space, which was a big deal in the CBD industry because, Barlean's is such a reputable, company and has such integrity, and everybody knows them, and they've been around for, wow, I think 31 years or so now. So yeah. Then I did jump. What's that?
That was like an act of corporate courage, right?
Yeah, you know what? I will say, I think people think of Barlean's and it is a company that is really a legacy brand, and they are so highly trusted and have such high integrity, but they have always been a courageous company. I think Bruce Barlean is not a guy who backs down from a challenge, and, they're a healthy oils company, and CBD made a lot of sense. It actually, the Barlean family is pretty conservative, but they just started hearing the things that all of us heard was, it was amazing for my cousin and this person that you knew at the, through your kids or whatever. So I think that was, once they recognized that this was something that was real, not just some kind of trendy fad, it became something they really wanted to be a part of. And so that's why we all kind of came together as a leadership team there and said, like, let's jump in and do this. So that was it. And then, but now I've moved over to Hemp Fusion, as you know, and we have both the probiotics company Probulin as well as the Hemp Fusion CBD stuff. And so I'm more deeply involved with that. So, hey, there we go. But another super high integrity company. So I only hang out with the cool kids, Todd, as you know. So here we are.
It's interesting also because Jade Butler, he used to be the CEO of Barlean's for a while, and he jumped ship. He went to Emerald Health Bioceuticals, which is kind of, it's in the, we can call them the endocannabinoid system company, because they don't actually play with hemp CBD. But
they were the not CBD.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's all very, very fascinating.
Yeah.
So yes, ladies and gentlemen, here is Ola, great and good friend and wise person, and she is my Batman. And so we're gonna have fun here every week. And but right now, that's all we have time for our little intro. I mean, God, I think we could probably go back and forth for another 4 years
Yeah.
and probably 40 more. And we will. I bet we will. So
Let's do it. Let's
so it's been a really interesting year, and things are starting to crack open a little bit. And in part of that sort of nether region, we had a supply side pop-up show just, I don't know, last week. It was in Phoenix, the supply side pop-up. And so Sandy Almendarez, our North Star, she was there. She was at the show, and she did a little song and dance with some people there at the show. And she talked with Dana Morgan, who is the SRA, if we want to throw some acronyms around, of Care of, which is a really cool company too. And so, Charlie, why don't you roll that right here, and let's see a little bit about what happened at the Phoenix pop-up event last week.
Almendarez. I am at Supply Side Phoenix in my hometown of Phoenix, Arizona. And all the way from New Jersey, we've got Diana Morgan. She is the head of scientific and regulatory affairs for Care of and the founder of What's Up with Subs. Hi, Diana. Thanks for joining me.
Oh, hey, Sandy. I'm so happy to be here. So happy to be at a Supply Side event in person and just like seeing so many familiar faces.
Yeah, it's
so
awesome. And thanks for coming all this way and for putting on an amazing event last night, the What's Up with Subs Phoenix. Tell us about it.
It was so much fun. And so Sandy was there. A lot of people from Informant were there. So far, that was the largest event, the largest What's Up with Subs event to date. We had over about 200 people there.
It was banging. It was like packed and super fun, and like, I don't know, it was just so great to bring everyone together again, and just like, it's like a sigh of relief, just like, oh, like we're back and my family is around me again. It felt just amazing. So
yeah, so for some of you guys that weren't there, I'll definitely be posting the pictures online, but it was at this place called Copper Blues. It was a very rock and roll club. They had a live band. Everyone was just like hanging out, like eating, drinking, and just, getting to enjoy each other's company. And as I was telling Sandy, the song that came on during the night, it really resonates with me, especially with this event and last event. The boys are back in town. And it's just like, the industry's back. We're all here,
That's so great. So when's your next one? There's got to be one on the docket.
Yep. Like so far I've been doing one a month and doing them all across the country. The next one is going to be most likely July 13th around the Reg Summit in DC.
Okay, well, we'll definitely
Yeah.
link to that so
Yeah.
everyone can go. If you're, you should fly in, even if you don't live in DC or close. You should go. It's so
Yeah,
great.
Totally.
So I just want to, let's just get to know Diana a little bit better. So I'm just going to ask you some kind of silly questions, but let's go. What's one thing that brings you energy and joy?
The biggest thing that just brings me energy is feeding off other people's energy and building up people. And this is, whether it's an industry level or a personal level, and just, supporting your friends, your family, and just developing people. And, I get a lot of joy out of seeing other people's success. And that just, brings me a ton of energy. And also, music drives me. Music is probably the biggest driver.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have listomania, which is, if you're not familiar with that term, it's a term where you always have to have music on, and so that just brings me so much energy and just my passion.
What type of music? Is it all types or is it specific type?
Definitely a huge rock fan. I like a lot of punk. Lately, I've been on a Tool kick, so I've been loving Tool recently.
Yeah.
Favorite band, though, hands down, this, is 311.
311. Knew it.
Yeah.
Yes. So do you have like a industry playlist, or you're gonna get pumped for a show?
Yeah,
You
I
do?
totally do. So most of it's rock. Made a really awesome. So every event, I mostly have a playlist for all the What's Up with Subs events.
Yeah.
very, just like good times. It brings me back to Supply Side East. There's a tradition that a few of us do at Supply Side East where we do karaoke.
Yeah.
And I know like one of the songs, Party in the USA. So I always think of songs. Yes, totally.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
So what is something that you forgot to bring today that you wish you had remembered?
An extra pair of shoes. So I only had my gym sneakers, and I had these.
I don't know. Can you
probably
guys
can't
see?
see
Yeah.
these, but I had these for the rock event last night.
Yeah.
And that's it. So I didn't have any more comfortable shoes. But so I'll probably go shopping.
You're making it work. It looks
Yeah.
great together. Yeah. I'm asking this question because like it's your first industry event back from many of us.
Yeah.
Like there's got to be something we're all like forgetting to bring.
Yeah, everyone. Thankfully, the hotel had hairspray. I forgot that too.
Oh yeah, that would not be good. What's your favorite supplement?
You know this.
I do. This is a leading question.
Yes, you know this. So I love rhodiola. Rhodiola is my happy pill. It brings me up. It just makes me like positive mood. But then on top of rhodiola, I am a caffeine girl. Love caffeine. I have to have either my pre-workout or just coffee in general.
Yeah, me too. But I like tea. I don't like the taste of coffee. Well, thank you so much, Diana. Thanks for joining. Thanks for holding What's Up with Subs last night. Thanks for coming all the way to Phoenix.
Yes, such a great event, and I was walking the floor here. It's so nice to be back. And for some people that aren't here, what's the other thing that's pretty cool? So half of the hotel is subs people. The other half is UFC.
That's right. We didn't know that. We didn't plan that.
We didn't plan it, yeah. But there's a UFC fight tomorrow, so all the UFC fighters are here. Like the owner of UFC is here. It's a great time to have Supply Side Phoenix.
Yeah, it's probably a very interesting hotel bar, right?
Yeah, totally.
Thanks again.
Oh, awesome.
Back to you, Todd.
All right, a little rhodiola, a little adaptogen action. I sort of love that. And, speaking of which, this just rolls right into our next segment right here. We have Adrienne Smith, the doyen of New Hope, New Products. And Adrienne, let's just have a little fun. What do you got today? I hear you have beverages. Are we going to be drinking?
We are going to be drinking. Thanks, Todd. So I'm going to talk about some of the big trends in beverages today and some of the products that I love and that I've been seeing recently. So Todd, I know you're ready for this. Before we get started, I want to propose a little drinking game where you have to take a shot of your favorite botanically infused functional beverage every time I say the word ashwagandha. All right, you got your shot glass ready to go.
You just said ashwagandha.
Let's start. Botanically infused beverages. So botanicals are hot. It's kind of a weird thing to say, considering they've been around for thousands of years. But what's old is new. So here I've got two kind of interesting, very different examples of botanical blends. You might have to wait just a second there, Todd. I know you're ready.
Just say ashwagandha one time.
Ashwagandha. So the first thing I've got here is this great sparkling Amaro soft drink from Casamara Club. It's from my hometown of Detroit, which I also call the Paris of Southeastern Lower Michigan.
Wait, aren't you from Barcelona? Stop that.
Yeah. So these are really cool. So they're made with Italian Chinotto, which is what gives the bitters to Campari and Amari. And I just love this blend. It's a really great non-alcoholic, dry. It's usually a blend of juniper. This one has, Chinotto, sage, juniper, anise. So they're just this really great dry soda. So I'm going to open this up. I have my bottle opener is an octopus. I have a 6-year-old. See if I can open this up. This is going to be the one I'm going to use for my shot, ashwagandha.
So is that opener, is that going to encourage your 6-year-old to start opening bottles? Because he's like, oh my God.
Non-alcoholic, Todd.
Well, so far. Only that one is.
Now, the other thing I've got here is this wild tonic. So this is the new product from Jun Kombucha. And the difference is that this is made with fermented honey instead of sugar. And funny story, I thought that this was actually alcoholic, and I had my brother over. I used to be a sommelier, so I had my brother over and we had this big tasting of all the flavors. And I didn't find out until 2 or 3 days later that it's actually non-alcoholic, but they have these really great botanical flavors. It's USDA organic, so just another great product to try.
can you actually be a former sommelier? Like, isn't it, you can't leave the bar.
I try to keep as close as possible to the practice. And then, you also see a lot of functional ingredients being added to these botanicals. So I have this fantastic new line from Rowdy Mermaid.
Ooh, a local Boulder company.
Yeah, these are adaptonics. So you might know this brand from its kombuchas. These are sparkling waters with adaptogens and other products like this ashwagandha blackberry. And they have reishi mushroom, beta glucan. So they have all these immunity supporting ingredients. And I love the fact that they're really dry. I mean, these aren't unsweetened. And I don't really like sweet beverages. So you're going to hear this from me over and over again, dry. And they really just let the flavors shine through.
So wait, so is Rowdy Mermaid introducing non-kombucha products?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So these new adaptonics, I don't know if they're the first of many lines to come, but they're hot on the press. How do you say that?
Right.
Hot to the market.
Hot toddy.
Hot toddies.
Can you just say ashwagandha one more time?
Ashwagandha.
How exciting.
Another thing I'm seeing a lot of are probiotics, and then this one has prebiotics. So this is a brand called Gist. See if you can see that.
Yeah.
I think they're new. I just heard about them for the first time. And again, unsweetened, organic. This one has organic chamomile, rosemary, which is interesting because I don't actually really like chamomile, but I love the flavor of this. It's got 4 grams of prebiotics, just a really clean USDA organic drink. And it's really pretty. Okay, and then we also have here 2 kind of the intentioned imbibing trends. So this is Lunar. This is a hard seltzer. I love this product because it was created by these 2 New Yorkers that are Asian Americans, and they wanted to have some kind of alcoholic drink that really represented traditional flavors to them. So all of the flavors are Korean plum, like this one. There's lychee, there's yuzu, no ashwagandha. Cool. They're slightly.
Oh, you said it.
I'm out. And then this other one, Zaddies.
So wait, hold on. So is that alcoholic?
Yeah,
that
it's a hard seltzer.
Oh, that's cool.
And this is brand new. They started brewing in their kitchen, and then they learned how to scale up. And I just love the story, and I think it's a really cool brand. And then this last one, Zaddies. So Corpse Reviver. This is another canned cocktail. It's a gin cocktail, again, with those botanicals. It's got orange peel and lemon and fennel and 100 calories, no 2 grams of sugar. So again, really dry.
And wait, is there gin in there?
There's gin.
Provocative. Hold on to that.
Yeah, but no ashwagandha, Todd.
Oh, you said it again.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me here today.
All right.
That's all I've got for you.
Adrian, that was awesome. I can't wait. We're going to have to get these companies to, oh, look at you. I saw that. You did a shot. Yeah, that was real fun. We're going to have to do that again. Adrian, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate that. And now, zip, the next part of the next segment of our show here, the Toddcast here. I have a really cool special guest, published author, Chief Science Officer for Nutrigenetics, Dr. Andrew Myers, who just co-authored Simplifying the COVID Puzzle. That's right, COVID. Where's the eyeballs? There he is. Oh. Andrew, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, this is really great. Now, did you hold up your book? I wasn't quite paying attention. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Get this, because it's really interesting, because it has that, and we've been talking about this in past shows about the value of not just vaccinate, but also nutritionate. Oh, that's right. You heard it here first on Insider in the Afternoon. So, Dr. Myers, this is the question I like to pose to smart people. Is this whole COVID pandemic, is it some kind of global litmus test that really just sort of reveals how unhealthy humanity really is?
Simple answer is absolutely, 100%. We are nutritionally deficient. We are we have calorie overload, and we're nutrient deficient across several different categories, predominantly in terms of things like vitamin D, vitamin K2. We see widespread deficiencies, magnesium, zinc, selenium, absolutely. These are issues that are global in nature and affecting millions and millions of individuals. And the big miss The big miss at the beginning of this pandemic was that we didn't have anyone from the administration. We didn't have anyone from the CDC. We had no one in the medical community who stood up, raised their hand and said, we have a problem. We're working on solutions, vaccinations, medications. There's a protocol, but we all have a defense system on board called our immune system that we need to pay attention to, because guess what? There's already data that shows that if you're deficient in critical nutrients, you are more susceptible to COVID infection. This is just the basics of wellness and nutritional medicine, and yet no one from the powers that be stepped into the void and said, you can protect yourself with a handful of simple nutrients that can make an enormous difference in terms of your immune functionality and your susceptibility. It's just unconscionable to me that we didn't have someone step into that void and fill that gap.
Yeah, that I don't even know if we had the benefit of hindsight. Like, if we knew then what we know now, if we, it would have been nice if, like Fauci came out and said, oh, I know I take vitamin D, so
Yeah.
that was helpful, and certainly consumers got the message. Immune supplements were kind of off the charts last year, and the supplement business as a whole was up a record 15.5% last year. So, the word did get out a little, but obviously not enough, since we're, now up to 600,000 people dead. So let me ask you this. Now that we are in the vaccination part of the campaign, there's only about 2/3 of Americans who have received a vaccination. What are the rest of the people, the 1/3 of Americans, which is a lot of people? What should they be doing from a nutritional aspect before getting the vaccine? Is there something that they can do to help themselves in this interim period?
Well, the recommendations from my perspective are the same. If you're unvaccinated and you're waiting to get vaccinated, or you're thinking about it, your immune system needs to be competent and strong. If you're not going to get vaccinated, and this is a personal choice that individuals are making for different reasons, if you're not going to get vaccinated, then you need to strengthen your immune system immediately. Remember, a vaccination depends on a competent immune system to generate an antibody response. If your immune system is depleted, if you're nutritionally deficient, guess what? You're not getting the benefit that you could be when you receive the vaccination. So the two go hand in hand. The functionality of our immune system is foundational. And this is the issue that we talk about in our book. This is the issue that I'm promoting, is that you said it best yourself. This is a litmus test. The pandemic proved that we are an immune deficient world, especially in Western countries. You would expect in countries of the third world, where nutrition is a foundational issue, that immune deficiency is going to be present. If you're nutrient deficient, you're going to have problems with immune deficiency, as we've seen in India. Southeast Asia has been ravaged by COVID. But in Western countries, where you can buy supplements, food is available readily, we should not have these deficiencies, and it comes down to a lack of information and education. This, again, is the miss that was, overlooked in terms of the initial phases of this pandemic.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of interesting research. I think probably vitamin D leads the pack, with a lot of research showing, the higher levels you have, the better outcomes that you'll have. And, if people are below 10 nanograms per milliliter, you might die. And if you're above, 38, you're pretty much always going to live. Really interesting stuff. Zinc is another thing that we've learned. There was a new study that just came out this past week showing bifidobacteria, one of the primary species, I guess, of probiotics, can help protect the intestine from invasion of SARS-CoV-2. That's helpful for people with patients with COVID-19 GI systems, and then some of the other infections that occupy the lungs. What other nutrients come to mind to you? It's not just anything. It's not just any herb, it's not just any vitamin, but are there some that you feel like are rising to the top that really should be of interest, not just to customers, but for product formulators and supplement makers?
Absolutely. So when Dr. McCumsey, my research partner, and I did the research at the University Hospital System in Cleveland, we focused on vitamin D and vitamin K2. But beyond that, we can look to magnesium, we can look to zinc, we can look to selenium. The old standby, of course, is vitamin C. And we can't overlook the role that the microbiome plays in this entire process, where our gut is the primary site for our immune system itself. And so that defensive positioning around healthy microbiome is absolutely critical. The research that we did, though, linked the synergy between vitamin D and vitamin K2, specifically with regards to COVID susceptibility, so the chance of getting the infection, and then what happens if you do get the infection in terms of severity, all the way ranging from progressive respiratory distress all the way to death. And what our research showed was that very clearly, on an independent basis, if you are deficient in D, and when I say independent of other comorbidities, age, gender, ethnicity, overweight, diabetic, cardiovascular disease, if you're deficient in D and if you're deficient in vitamin K2, you are at increased risk for infection with COVID, and the severity of your infection is going to be significantly worse. And there's a whole mechanism of action that we were able to define as a part of this research in terms of how vitamin D and vitamin K2 work synergistically, not only to help our bodies to keep the virus at bay, but if you do get COVID-19, how these two nutrients work together to modulate inflammation and to protect, specifically vitamin K2, to protect the sensitive tissues and organs like our lungs, our endothelium, and our cardiovascular system from the damage of this terrible virus, both during the infection and in the long haul phase.
So here's a question: D and K2, do they work together or do they work in different ways that also against SARS-CoV-2?
It's a great question. So we talked a little bit about Batman at the beginning of the show. If you're into superheroes, D is really the Clark Kent of this story. K2 and COVID is the Superman. Like running a relay race, D has to have someone to pass the baton to, and it passes the baton to K2. D is involved in activating and the maturation of the immune system. It has a primary effect of blocking NF-kappa B, which helps to reduce inflammation in the initial phases or the incubatory phase of COVID. But after that point, D's benefits tend to decrease and K2 takes over. Downstream, K2 is a regulator of several inflammatory chemical mediators, decreasing and modulating the inflammatory response or this cytokine storm. And then specifically, because calcium is involved in this whole process with the progression of COVID, we know that D brings calcium into the body, but K2 is really the management for calcium metabolism and its placement. So why do COVID patients have problems with the elasticity of their lungs? Well, the inflammatory chemicals attack the elastin in the lungs, leading to the deposition of calcium in those tissues, restricting their flexibility. K2 helps to prevent that. So if you go into COVID with sufficient levels of K2, your lungs are going to be much healthier. The same is true of our arteries and our vascularity. K2 is protecting us from the thrombolytic events that are characteristic of this high level of inflammation in COVID infection.
That is really fascinating. We've been learning so much about vitamin K2. It's sort of like really the newest vitamin to come to the fore. I've been talking about it for 5 or 6 years, and we just keep hearing more and more evidence that comes up. It's sort of, it helps the body place calcium, and so it'll remove it from the arteries. And then the original dose was like 45 micrograms, and then they would double it to 90. And then I think the last one was at 360 micrograms. And they found it reversed arterial stiffness. It actually, made the arteries, more flexible, which is kind of like a drug, at that point. Is there, we only got about 30 seconds left, but is there like a dosage that you think is appropriate on K2 or even D that is best? And this would be of interest to formulators as well as the public.
Absolutely. So from a formulation perspective, D3 and K2 need to go together in everybody's mind from this point forward. There's synergistic activity. As we increase D dosages in the 2,000, 4,000, 5,000 IU range, You have to have 100 micrograms of K2 on board as a minimum. As you said, in terms of progressive cardiovascular issues, more in the 300 microgram range, but I think 100 micrograms on a daily basis is a great place for formulators and consumers to start with K2. But remember, if you have excess D and you don't have that K2 on board, you can have calcium metabolism issues. You can be driving calcium into the soft tissues like the arteries, which is what we don't want. These two nutrients, unlike drug products, nutrients work together in synergy. They're always functioning together in the body. And we forget that in our double-blind, placebo-controlled mindset. It's one nutrient has to do all the work. That's not how the biochemistry of the body works at all. It's all interrelated and all interconnected. And D3 and K2 are absolutely a perfect example of that interrelationship.
Great. That is an awesome message. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Andrew Myers, ND, CSO of Nutrigenetics, co-author of Simplifying the COVID-19 Puzzle. Why don't you hold that book up one last time? And there it is. Thanks for joining us today. That's all we've got for this issue of Insider in the Afternoon. We'll see you next Wednesday. Thanks.